seconds, and here we are live. So today I am joined by the lovely Hermie from the book Hermit. And I always start with saying thank you to everyone who can join us. I know that's always a challenge between life, time zones, and everything else. So as always, a huge thank you to Team Rewatch, because I know you folks are out there and it's much appreciated. Hey, Donna Marie! And Donna Marie will be here soon, actually next week, as I kick off Canadians in July. So all my guests are Canadian booktubers, which is awesome. And we have them around the country. Hey, Paula. And so I'll be featuring Canadian booktubers. The books that I'm going to be featuring are Canadian authors, so comedians and ghost stories and all kinds of stuff. And I'll probably have some other stuff in there too. But I figured, you know what? We're not the 51st anything, and I'm celebrating Canada Month, not Canada Day. Captain Makeup, stick that in your bottle and stuff it. Okay, and I'm going to behave now. My bad.
Don't you dare. We don't like behaved people around here.
Yeah, it would be unusual for me, but you know, I wasn't going to go there. It's Canada celebration. Woohoo! But today we are chatting Fourth Wing ACOTAR. And first, Hermie, let's hear about your channel. Hey, Noah.
Hey, I'm Hermie for anyone who hasn't met me before. I run the Book Hermit channel, and over there I do a bit of a mixture of things. I do live, I do sprints, reading sprints, I do random videos, I do Booktionary TBRs, I do all sorts. I also run a book club with my friend Beatrice from Beatrice's Book Nook called the Sibs Book Club, and I also run a sort of reading / life-a-thon that happens every sort of season called Resetathon, which is all about obviously reading prompts, but we also have like mental health and life prompts, generally being there for each other and just, you know, getting through life together.
Well, and it's awesome because
that's about it, really.
Well, and I've been able to pop into some. Now, through the day, I'm not typically around YouTube. Every now and again, I pop in for the sprints, or I pop in to hit the like button, and then I'm in and out. The last few weeks, I've been trying to get out in the yard. So I'm like, oh, there's a sprint. And with the time, because it's 5 hours, it's like,
Yeah.
I love you guys, but 5 a.m, that ain't happening too often, ladies.
No, it would, yeah.
Gentlemen and they. And now I got to be correct. Shit. What do I say?
Yeah.
But, and again, that's kind of the challenge too. And the awesome thing is, because you have people from all over the world, right? And I've been kind of waving and saying hi. So, hey, Greg, I know like Noah is in Britain, so for him the time's the same. Livia, I believe, is in Italy.
Yeah.
Donna Marie and I are here in Ontario, but I think we're at opposite parts of the province, and it's like freaking huge here. So we could potentially be 8 to 10 hours apart, depending on the traffic. And yeah, that makes me laugh because, you know, in Britain, you're like, oh, we're 2 hours apart. Ooh, we're all getting together. And it's like, ooh, that would put me in Toronto. And heck no, I'm not going to like millions of, no. I would love to meet other people, but the few I've met from Ontario, we're like all over the place and a long drive away. So Yeah, we'll catch up on the comments. And if you don't know Hermie, make sure you go check out her channel, her sprints, her great content. It's lovely. There's book talk, there's crafts, it's a great variety.
Thank you.
And a
I get
lovely.
bored easy.
But you know what? That's the beauty of being able to do different things, right? So
Yeah.
whether it's books or crafts or different things, it's important to talk about mental health, to
Mm.
get it out there and people can share and build that community of support, right? I
Yeah.
mean, for
Yeah.
me, that was the caring tree. Like when I bought that thing, it had 30 sayings that were cute, and you had little cards that you could put your own. And I thought, I don't want to, but I
Yeah.
do want to do something with the tree. And not just because I spent $10 on the thing. It's like this is a cool craft. So
Yeah.
before I even put it together, I made a template on my cardstock so I can cut it out and make any color trees and things I want. Because you just need like a semi-thick, even cardstock, I think would work. You just couldn't put like heavy things on it. But then I thought, you know what? Times are tough. We're all trying to get through things the best we can. And I've met all these amazing, hang on, cough, allergies, lovely.
Yeah.
But I felt like doing that through COVID. I'm not trying to kill you. I have allergies. That's why I'm coughing.
Yeah.
Just chill out. But I've thought, I've met all these amazing booktubers, like content creators and viewers, and the connections spiral out. I want to see that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to do this by myself. And granted, these people aren't on my street. I can't hop over for tea. But you know what? I can look up at the tree and go, wow, here's all these amazing people. And wow, we can have virtual tea and those connections or join in sprints. And there's just so many ways to stay connected, even if we're not in the same countries. Which, by the way, Noah, you're lucky, and we'll be talking about ACOTAR in a bit, because I was going to take one of those books and just upside the head. Little bugger keeps going, there's another book. And I'm like, and I'm not reading it. 5 is my limit. But okay, so
But the next one's really good.
No, don't. And no. We're going to say hi. Hi, Donna Marie. Hello to Paula. People saying hi. We have Swank. Howdy, everybody. Happy Forgiveness Day. Happy Beautician Day. And happy Handshake Day. Okay. I'm still not apologizing for the Captain Makeup comment, but I'll keep that in mind.
That's okay, because it's Forgiveness Day.
Yeah, there you go. Hello, Noah. And Livia has joined us, saying hi. Let's hear about you, Hermie, the bestest. So cozy and comforting. Nice. See, it's so cute when you blush and get embarrassed. And I wanted you to talk about your channel anyhow, in case people didn't hear about you. But that's what made it so funny this morning in your sprint when you're like, I don't know about promoting myself. And I'm like, sweetie, if you don't do it,
no one else will.
And the lovely thing is you do have people who do it, and we each do. But the thing is, you be proud, talk about, because you're doing amazing things. So there is nothing wrong with self-promotion. I've been known to do it every now and again when I mention my Amazon wish list. If you want to help out a girl with books and book murder tools, just saying, it's under my videos in the description box. See, I don't do that often, but we all got to get there.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
I don't think bad of other people for doing it. It's just for myself for some reason.
But I think it's the same as with our voices, right? I always laugh, but I do appreciate the comments when people say how much they enjoy listening to me read a book, like read a story, or just me talking, and my voice is calming. And the thought that goes through my head is, really? Because I just want to turn the volume down when I hear my video. Like my husband will play it to somebody. I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
No, you go listen over there.
Yeah.
And
I've learned to recognize certain things in my voice that I don't like. Like when I say I know how that looks on the sound wave. So my first round of editing that I do on every video is on silent, and I just look for the ums and chop them out.
Oh,
So I don't even have to listen to myself for that bit, because otherwise I'm effing and jeffing at the screen the whole time.
See, I don't have because I just use iMovie.
Yeah, I do.
It's very handy to see those gaps, like either when you have a pause, or you're going to get a book and it wasn't quite in reach at the time. And so that's when I'm going through, because I'll watch mine at least twice before they go up, which is funny. Listening to me that way doesn't make me squeamish. But I think it's because I'm focused on listening for the words, content, context. Who am I going to tick off? Have I said or conveyed what I wanted to with the appropriate wording? So my mindset is different.
Yeah. And you're not thinking about how you sound or how you look in that moment or any of them things. Like the things that don't matter anyway.
And so, and then I go through, so I chop out all those little bits, listen to everything. And because I do one long recording, sometimes don't like that, do this, and then I have to do the other part. But when I'm editing, every now and again, I make a faux, and it's like, wait, did I take out the right part? So I listen to the whole thing again. Thank crikey, I don't make videos an hour and 3 hours long. That would be brutal. It's bad enough they're 20 to 30 minutes long. But so then I listen to it again that second time through, and then I'm looking at the screen like, did I do one of those eye rolls, but it's not appropriate type of thing. And, then I'll upload it. And it's funny. There's a few times I've been like, to quote Van, it's fine. And I was just going to upload it.
That do.
But then I listen again and going, oh, thank crikey, I didn't do it. So I can't break the habit of I've got to watch it twice. And I've got to learn to narrow that down, because it is time consuming.
It is. Like, I think like we all have our ways of editing and processes that we have to stick to in order to like remember all the bits that we need to remember to do. Like, definitely.
Yeah, we need to be comfortable and do what works for us. Livia saying hi. Greg, greeting fellow babblers. People saying hi. Noah agreed with me on something, probably wasn't smacking him upside the head with the book. People asking how they're doing. I love this part of the stream as well, the interaction between folks. UK 6 hours ahead of the USA.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in the USA.
No. I do wish, though, that we didn't have time zones. I wish we were all in the same time zone. That would be really useful.
Well, that's it. And sometimes I worry, too, with live streams of, did I plan it right? If I'm showing up on some, okay, have I got this right? And other times it's pretty cool doing time travel. Like when I had Mark from Book Ramble on, he's in New Zealand.
Right.
And it was comical because, and it was just the way it worked out. He was on the night of our Canadian election.
Right.
Now it was night for me, Monday. it was Tuesday morning. I'm like, Mark, who won? Like, come on, man, it's Tuesday. You can tell. That whole weird time travel. Yes. Donna Maria, too busy, no thanks. Yeah, it's like nutso. My auntie and her family live in Toronto. Ooh, never even been to Canada. Wow. You should come. It's fun here.
I love Canada.
Me too. And now it's funny. For the longest time, I thought, wow, it's really boring here. And, other people have these cool places like Glastonbury and all these haunted houses. And there's things like Waverly Hills and the Grand Canyon and so many other things. And now I'm like, I'm good with my ass in Canada. I'm going to leave it here. I can do with, a bit of quiet, boring, and hope things stay that way.
Yeah. I'd move there if you guys would let me in.
They probably would. See, we're taking a lot of folks in, including south of the border. We've had a few of the politicians coming up. We've had, I don't know how many other people coming up. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Well, the last time I looked, I don't qualify. So
really,
because of a diagnosis that I have.
Well, that's poopy.
Yeah, but that's okay. I'll just go somewhere else instead because I ain't staying in the UK.
Oh no, it's
we're not that far behind you. Behind you guys, we're not that far behind America.
Oh,
at this point,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
No, well, we'll send positive vibes out for positive things and a good location.
Let's just all pray that we all become more like Pedro Pascal.
We got to have those happy, positive, good things starting to happen. And that would be a comment about my book murdering, whatever, Noah. And I do have to get to part 2 of the book murdering video. There are so many things I'm behind on this year. It's ridiculous. You will if I buy it. Noah, we've had this conversation. If you want to buy me something on Amazon, sticky notes. Okay, don't buy me pens. Sticky notes you could handle. Little key rings so I can organize my index cards. Do not buy me that 6th book of ACOTAR, or I will find a way to get across that ocean and smack you. Or I will nicely ask
Noah, we feel safe being this far away. I'll go halfies with you if you want, Noah.
Well, see, the other thing I can do, Hermie, is send Ven down the few minutes of walking to flick him in the ear for me.
Yeah.
Hey,
they
Margaret.
don't live near me, though, so.
Now, Margaret is lovely, and I don't know if you know her, Hermie. Margaret is an author. I've seen
Margaret around, but I don't think we've really chatted or anything.
She's lovely. Check her out. I have read her book, The Keening. It has to do with Scotland and the kelp industry and the family having to relocate because it was around the time they were moving people from the rural areas. Everyone was clogging into the urban areas, and some were leaving the country as well. So she writes historical fiction. I now have book 2, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's exciting.
People saying hi. If you don't do it, no one will find you. This is about the self-promotion, which may be your aim if it involves Liam Neeson. Nice. Hermie's channel rocks. Just love her. So see, there you go. Lovely things.
Love you too, Swank.
No more book murder tools. Yes. And actually, just before Hermie joined me and I was making notes. Okay, Noah, sweetie, I know you can't tell the colors on these, but they smell. You cannot go wrong with smelly pens. It makes annotating fun.
I
And
want
no.
some. I was trying to decide between these ones.
Ooh. Very pretty.
Either these 3 colours or
Nice.
these 3 colours.
Very pretty.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
not sure
well,
which ones.
and I've got, there's a number of, see, Noah, you should buy these, sweetie, because if you don't, if you can't see the color, and I know there's just a few that mess you up, you know, grape is purple. You know, a light blue. What are you
Blueberry?
supposed? Oh, it's supposed to be mint. Okay,
Oh,
that's wrong.
mint.
Mint's green. Okay, never mind, Noah. Maybe this set would not work for you, honey. Saying not allowed. Interesting tactic for editing. So that would have been one of the things we did. And again, we all, and this is the other thing I love about it, as we all share and talk, we get different ideas. We adore Ven. Yes, Noah. Many, many jokers. Don't know how he does that. Okay. Now this, okay, yep. Some parts of the USA, because of course they have so many different time zones. I think like Canada, we each have 3. So Margaret, I know, is 3 hours behind me, which certainly makes it different for UK time there. And that's what she's saying with not mine. I love it too. Not the expenses. Those can lower any time. Do you remember what we were talking about there,
I think
Hermie?
that's love Canada, but not how expensive it is.
Yeah. And sadly here, like our groceries and things, it's nuts. But I mean, it's nuts everywhere at the moment, which makes me
it
glad.
is, but I do feel like, I was saying this earlier in sprints, I feel like Canada and Australia have got it worst when it comes to how expensive everything is. I mean, I know like it's kind of hard to tell when you factor in like conversion rates and stuff like that, but even so, like,
and the taxes, and it's hard to get, you know, but yeah, that's exactly the thing. I know some of our prices have gone cuckoo, and it makes me glad that we just eat basic. Like we don't do fancy uber like, you know, we do like the ground beef, and I make extras in the freezer and leftovers, and you know, lots of pasta. And right now, thankfully, it's summer, so you can get veggies at the market for a good price and things. And you just got to pick and choose and priorities. But yeah, for folks who have big families and that, it's like, yow. Oh no, Bean. Corner sofa spot. Now he's now he's happy in a different curl up blanket. Oh yay, glad Bean's happy. I was getting worried there, Margaret, shoving the cat off the couch. Whereabouts? All in the chat. Oh, whereabouts in the UK? All in the chat. And Hermie.
I'm in Coventry, which is the West Midlands.
Yeah.
So right in the middle of the country.
And Noah and Ven are, up in, now see, Margaret may be asking for historical information because she does write different stories about that area. So she's always scoping out her resources. Can't stop me. No more murder tools. Only the book. Yeah, we'll see, Noah. We'll see. And Paula's in the south. Right, Hermie? We're safe.
Yeah.
Ben gonna get you, Noah. Hermie's safe. You
Ben
not
can't
so
get
much.
me though.
Need to meet up, just plan things. Haven't visited much of the south, but I hear it's nice. Now, see, the south is about the only part I know. Because when I was 16, we went to England with my stepmother and my dad. I actually turned 17 in Bexhill-on-Sea because we were still over there before coming back home to Canada. So I've been to Bexhill-on-Sea, which is where my stepmother's family was. And I've been to London and went around, did the tour, stayed with some cousins there, went to Devonshire, possibly. And that's my big escapade throughout the UK. But yes, notably, I turned 17 across the ocean from where I live.
Nice.
It was an amazing, amazing trip. And because I'm that oddball, as everyone else is oohing and awing over the crown jewels, I'm like, where'd Anne Boleyn lose her head? I need to me a picture of that spot, and I got one.
I know that spot.
I got me a picture of the plaque where, and everyone else is like, oh, we want to see the jewels. I'm like, knock yourself out. Who cares? It's now, mind you, as distracted as I get with shiny things, I wasn't interested in the jewels. I just wanted to see that spot. I'll be in on Getting Elaine the 6th. Oh, man.
There we go. That's
Come on, you guys.
It's going to be so cheap for us to get this book between us.
I still can't believe I'm reading the whole series again. This mask chick is haunting me. South is nice. People are nicer further north. Interesting. See, I found people very nice, but then, I was just kind of bebopping along 16. And the cool thing was going to the pub and there was a cat in it. And I could go in the pub. I'm like, this is awesome. But what I think,
it is true that the further north you go, the more friendly people are, but it's a different kind of friendly. So I feel like further south you go, people aren't rude as such, but you won't get the chatting to each other on the bus or like saying hello in the street, that kind of thing. Whereas the further north or the further rural you go, because smaller places, obviously everyone knows everyone. So you tend to get more of the hello in the street, kind of chatting to each other at the bus stop, that kind of thing.
Interesting. Well, it was funny because, when I went, my aunt and uncle lived in the one house, and another uncle, my stepmom's youngest brother, lived about 4 doors down. So like a hop and a skip, really. And it was so funny because when we got there, they had all warned me about Uncle John, and, he can be a bit off-putting.
Right.
Now, and I'm still rather shy, which is funny. I'm on BookTube and doing this whole gig. But in person, I wouldn't be someone to speak first kind of thing. Like I'm that introvert person.
Yeah, same.
So there I am in a foreign country. I don't know any of these people. Like my dad's the only one I really know, and obviously my stepmom. And they're like, okay, well, here's some mincemeat pies. Take them over to Uncle John's. And I'm looking at them like, the guy you tell me is like scary dude, right? And they're like, oh, you'll be fine. Just, drop them off and you can head right back. I'm like, these people are nuts. First, they tell me how scary he is. Now they send the quiet kid because it was at Christmas time, right? So I go boogieing down and, tap on the door. And here's this guy at the door. And I'm like, they've sent me to bring you these. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, great. Do you want to come in? And I'm like, okay. I didn't want to be rude, right? What am I going to... No, I'm out of here, dude. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm here for 3 weeks. I better make nice. And, about 2.5 hours later, I went back and they're all like, well, that was a while. And I'm like, we had a great chat. Like we had an awesome time, sat down, chit-chatted. I tried all kinds of booze. Like he was super cool because again, Christmas, right? There's alcohol everywhere. So, and no, I wasn't snapped. It was just little tastes of this and that. But we had the best visit, and he was my favorite person to hang out
Oh,
with because he didn't treat you like a kid.
yeah,
He spoke to you like an equal, like a human
yeah.
being. He didn't, talk down to you. And they were all laughing because he actually walked me back to the
Mm.
house. And he would always do that when we would visit. And like I said, it was only 4 doors away. They're like, John, you let your girlfriend go to the train station by herself, which is like a block and some, but you walk her 4 doors away. And he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm like, that's too cute. Book murder tools. I love and it. See, Noah, you're in the minority, dude.
Mhm.
Elizabeth Gaskell agreed with you. Now, funny, you should say that name. I have The Old Nurse's Story by Elizabeth Gaskell. I picked this up last December because Vin at Revenant Reads started a Ghost of Christmas Past reading event in December. And the book we were reading together was Elizabeth Gaskell's The Old Nurse's Story. It was my first co host event. So cool. Now, the funny thing is, I just picked up a collection of 50 ghost stories
Mm.
and the old nurse's stories in it. So now I'm like, do I pass this on? Do I keep it?
Mm.
Because it's such a cute little
It
book.
is cute.
So yeah, it's sitting here as I decide. I'll probably end up keeping it because it's just so stinking cute.
Yeah.
Haven't had smelly pens for years. Oh, and he can see blue. Okay, I love smelly pens, smelly markers, smelly pencil crayons. It's like so awesome. Have those highlighter ones. Curious about the others. More 80s neon.
Mm.
Then
These ones.
yeah. And Noah saying the grape was blue. That light blue is yellow. See, we're learning about now, mind you, my lighting, but I've noticed if I put my overhead light on, it shines off my gray hair. So I've
Right.
turned that light so it's not blaring into everybody's eyeballs. But the funny thing is, it's 3:30 here. It looks like I'm in the nighttime,
Yeah.
and you're at 8:30, and it's
Yeah.
so bright.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. Noah's saying everything's yellow. Then he's going, lies, how dare. Oh, nice. Donna, you look really pretty in your reset coming videos. So lovely. People, complimenting and sweet. Did fancy basic for, second breakfast this morning. Roasted squash, wedges with sitar. Delish. I
Is
don't
that
know what
a Greek thing?
it might be. Well,
Yeah,
when we catch up, we'll have to let us know, Margaret. Coventry, home of Lena Norms.
she is so nice as well. She is so nice.
Nice. There we go. Thanks for the compliment. By association, does it show? You know what? That is what works the best.
Yeah.
Ven can't get me. I'm safe in my corner. Yeah, don't bet on it, Noah. That would be like a dare. Brand of pasta I usually buy 39 cents to 73 for half. That's a good deal.
Mm.
Have a degree. Oh, cool. Archaeology and
Nice.
history. What historical things do you write about, Margaret? Okay, so hopefully Margaret has answered down there. Yes, yeah, I love ancient Egypt and such things. Archaeology and all of that I find fascinating.
Mm.
The sun that's growing, 12. So much pasta a week. Yep. Love in Kent, so super close to Bex Hill. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Victorian adjacent British Empire history, clearances and immigration, family saga, themes of home and identity. And they're very well written. Margaret super checks her facts, makes sure she's in with the right timeline. And yeah, it's awesome. And in the book that I read, and I won't give it away, Margaret, I learned a factoid about icebergs that I didn't even know about here in Canada. So there you go. Margaret taught me something about our own icebergs.
Nice.
Amazing and interesting. Hope it haunts you in your dreams. Whatever, Noah. Okay, and then chatting back and forth. South of England, do they have equivalent for polite but backstabbing Southern? Bless their heart. No, wow, that failed. Okay. Studied mostly Vikings. Oh, cool.
Nice.
Do you like the Victorians? Hey, there's Kat. Hello. Little gremlin saying hi. Visiting, oh goodness, I can't say that.
Vindolanda?
Possibly. Oh, and for Roman digs. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, Margaret's been around to some amazing countries and been there for a while, and it's very cool. Okay, Kat and Noah are catching up, saying hi. Made Antonian Wall a bit of a spooky cameo in one of my books.
Ooh.
Very interesting. Away from the oven, most folks are gone. Less shanky than before. This is a good thing. Yeah, where Kat works, it's 20 degrees hotter inside than outside. And they're having some crazy heat right now as well. To answer your question, Margaret, stabby. Go to Roman dig near Brighton. Nice. Sometimes you just feel like shaking everyone, but don't want to pay the jury.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm reading. Wow, that's really cool. But no, that's back to Brighton. Telling Kat to behave herself. Okay, sorry if I skip some. I want to catch up, and then we'll actually get to the book talk. Not allowed. No one's. We're all allowed book murdering tools. Don't have enough money to get to see me in shake mode. Colchester, way far from Brighton. Master historical fiction, still writing on her last Boudica series. Okay, that, and I just have her one book, and I'd seen it in Margaret's video. But yeah, Boudica is a fascinating character for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Miss the scented markers. Yay for seeing blue. Might be able to. Oh yeah, and Kat has lovely garden videos. Shows off her flowers, everything that's growing and blooming, and yeah. See, I hadn't even thought of that. It would be very different for Noah and people who have issues identifying colors. The source of the whole ginger blonde confusion. Zatar. Oh, here we go. Middle East. Every country has its own blend. Cool.
Nice.
JoJo's. Think of my friend we call. Don't want to know what flavor that is. Regional. Oh, thick potato fries that are really wedges.
Right.
Oh, we're not going into this with all the British terms of chips, fries, crisps, and so many words for potatoes. Noah, doesn't Ven still have a key? Yeah, that's right. That could get scary. We all remember the Ven throwing cake at Noah and running away because he'd startled poor Noah. Noah's like, "Wah!" And Ven's like, "Wah!" and threw the cake at him that he'd gone to deliver. It's like, Guys are bizarre. Everyone needs a neighbor that throws dessert at you as, you're both suddenly, oh, what? It's like, well, you gave him the key, dude. Wedge fries are good. Oh, nice. Yay, connections. So we're good. Glad I marked a few recipes down. Nice. Getting around to trying them. I need to do that with some of my recipe books. Actually, there are 2 books I'll be talking about next month. It's Sisters. They're from Guelph, which is just about an hour and a half away from me. Amazing books, great recipes. Have I tried any yet? No. Have I had them for about 10 years? Yes. It's just one of those, oh, yeah, I want to try that. Then dinner comes. It's like, I don't want to stand that long. No. So I'll have to get around to that small town evilness. Think it's your nap time. You're being stupid again. What would be the recipe list to be tried? Because TBT. There we go. Oh, wait. To be tried. There we go. Lecture from my degree supervisor. Ooh, cool. So neat. Different landscape. Yep. And in so many different countries too. You've got all these rules and everything else, and people not playing nice. We just did. But we must be catching up if he's talking about the cake.
Yeah.
Shush, cat. Suppose TBT confused. Throwback Thursday. Yeah, see, that's why you got to watch with some of the, what are they called? Acronyms when you do the letters. Uh-oh, cat's going to get noise shushing her. So I'll just pat. Woo! Look at this. Don't make me send the cake thrower.
I feel like that should be on a t-shirt.
You can't do that. Also, you won't. Oh, Noah, did you just challenge Cat? So not good. Gotta watch. Oh my goodness. Octothorpes.
I like that word.
Margaret comes up with some of the most amazing words, and she'll look things up and super information. And now Swank wants cake. Noah's saying he did and she'll fail. I wouldn't bet on that, Noah. But we are now going to get into Fourth Wing. And this came up during our virtual tea, comically about Wheel of Time. Which we did talk about through our tea. But you made an interesting point about, because for a while you were on my side.
Yeah, I was.
And I did not enjoy Fourth Wing. But unlike a booktuber who shall remain nameless, I couldn't make a 5-hour video about everything I hated about the book. I can't do it. No. But there were things I enjoyed about it. I liked the last 130 pages. Yeah. And I'm reading them too. And because to me, that was more of the story. And I was interested in the dragons. I'm not a romancy, I want to climb you kind of person. So I didn't want to keep reading about her wanting to climb Xaden and get all jiggy with it, which is a big chunk of the first part of the book.
Right.
Now, you had said you didn't enjoy it the first read.
No.
So share what changed it for you.
Donna,
and it's okay that it changed. And I think that's awesome. So what made it different? And why did you read it the second time?
The second and the third time?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you the whole thing then. Okay, so the first time I read it, I read every single word and hated it so bad I refused to even rate it. I genuinely hated it that much. And it is your fault.
Jonah's not taking
You were the one that
responsibility.
did the petition. I'll get there. So the second time I read it, two of my closest friends, Donna and Beatrice, both love Fourth Wing. And I thought it would be nice to reread it and vlog it as a surprise for them and attempt to at least rate it. So I came up with a foolproof plan. I made myself a dragon nest and decided that I was going to rate it by annotating the book. Sorry, no, I'm not. Annotating it and having like positive to negative. I should have had my book out to show you. So each colour tab that I use, each colour tab that I use had a positive or a negative. So the most positive colour got a 5-star and the least positive would get a 0-star.
Okay.
And depending on how many of each colour, obviously the one with the most colours, that's the rating. Okay. Yeah. So I ended up on a 3-star, which I don't think is too bad, honestly, for going from hating it to, okay, I can tolerate it, you know? And I did enjoy making the dragon nest and I did enjoy making the video. And I did cry in that last 100 pages. It killed me. It broke me apart.
Oh,
and if a book can break me apart, it kind of weasels its way in a little bit. Okay, so the third time I read it was only, a couple of months ago. Donna can confirm or deny this.
Because you're doing those sprints, I remember seeing.
Yeah, well, she wanted me to read the next book, Iron Wing, and then and the third book. I didn't want to. So I said, so she threatened to do a petition. So I said, okay, fine. If you put a petition together and enough people say I have to read it, I'll read it. And of course,
they did it.
They did it.
So each time there was something.
Yeah. And then the third time, I rated it 5 stars.
Nice.
So, but I think this is the trick to it for me. So there were still lots of things that I really didn't vibe with, didn't enjoy, could go as far as to say I hate. But because we were reading it on sprints together, there was a few of us all reading at the same time. And I could moan about the things that I didn't like immediately as I was coming across them, which meant that the bits that I did like, I could just enjoy. Which made me realize that I did enjoy some of it. And then the 5-star comes in when I think about how special that experience was overall to me now. That the book is more than just a book, because it was an experience, effectively. And it did bring out the full spectrum of emotions, which is important to me in a book that I enjoy.
Nice.
And there we go.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing that. And because I think it's important that even though we've read a book once and maybe we don't enjoy it, and I mean, there's specific things, because I was really wanting dragons, not humans. And for me, that was the biggest bugaboo. And it's just funny because I know it's hilarious to say about climbing Ents and all of that, because, he's so much taller. But for me, and I mean, we had a discussion. There was Noah, Ven, and Kat, and they all enjoyed Fourth Wing.
Right.
I did not. But
Mm.
part of it for me was I'd read so many different fantasy books,
Mhm.
and and different types of books. So as I was reading it, I
Mhm.
could see Katniss from the Hunger Games.
Mm.
I saw Beatrice from Divergent,
Right.
and there were parts of the Pullman Dark trilogies, the
Right.
Golden Compass, and that.
Mhm.
And there were just more and more books. And I'm like, she read all of these, threw them in a blender, flipped
Yeah.
it at the wall, and picked which stories would stick, is how it
Yeah.
read for me.
Mm.
But for Noah, who hadn't really read much fantasy before, he
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Like it was a first time read. And I was like, yeah, I can get that. How
Yeah.
for people it would be a first time experience
Yeah.
without having all those other series,
Mm.
coming forward going, oh, yeah, that's a Katniss. Oh, yeah, that's B
Yeah.
when she's doing that part. And so it would be a very different experience. But
Mm.
then I can also see how going through it, like to do your vlog and then doing it with a group of people and in the moment being able to
Yeah.
chat about it would also change your perspective.
Yeah.
And I get where some people are saying with Violet, because I mean, she's an interesting character. She overcomes so much and things
Yeah.
happening. The parent or the mother, well, actually, the mother and the father remind me of Pullman's Dark trilogies, because you never know
Right.
whether they're working for the
For
kid
you
or
again.
against her.
Mhm.
And it's that back and forth. Now
Mm.
with the trilogy, I cheated. I read book 1 and I read book 3 because I got them from the library. Someone had book 2, and I'm
Right.
like, well, now I know how it ends, so I don't have to go back and read book 2. But yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
book 2 is the best one though.
really?
Yeah.
Well, I may have to. I'll
Book
put
2
it
was, I
somewhere at
think,
the.
is my favourite so far because it's got a lot more of the political intrigue of it
Ah,
all, and I really like the political stuff in fantasy
it
worlds.
explained that part of
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll have
Um,
to put that somewhere on my
yeah.
300,
See if it
400.
manages to work its way onto the list at some point.
Yeah.
You
But
never
yeah,
know.
we'll catch up a bit. And like I say, yeah, it definitely does
Yeah.
make a difference if you're reading by yourself, if you can
Yeah.
have that conversation. And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of BookTube as well, whether it's
Oh,
live
100%.
streams or videos or sprints, is
Mm.
that engagement about
Yeah.
books and characters.
I think that's changed the way I read as well. So when I look back at the first time I read it, I wasn't on BookTube at all. I didn't even really know it existed. I knew
Mm,
there was book content, but I didn't understand the concept of BookTube, you know.
yep.
And then the second time I read it I was already on BookTube, but it was early on. So I was still finding my way. Well, I still am, to be fair. I probably always will be. But
Hey, I'm 3
um,
years and I'm still
I feel
trying to
settled.
figure it
Yeah.
out. So,
Yeah. I said, like, I'm still finding my way, but I feel more settled, if that makes sense.
yes.
So whereas now I find myself reading with a different lens almost, because now I'm thinking about if I like it, number
Mm,
one, but number two, who else would like it? So
nice.
who is the perfect person to be picking this book up? Who is this book written for effectively, whether it's me or not?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of reading it on with two different viewpoints now.
Nice. The word Margaret's talking about, she has an event coming up, Agitation August. She has a
Oh,
number of guests. Yours truly is one of them. And I'll be talking about Steering by Starlight is the
mm,
book that we're reading. And it's to get people thinking, what gets you moving, what gets you excited, what gets you involved. It's an amazing event. Margaret has a intro announcement video, and yes, that's going to be fun. So definitely worth checking out. Noah does love Fourth Wing, and then, bless his heart, read the next two, as did Noah, but then read them and gave me the scoop so I didn't have to. Saved me time.
Yeah.
Still here. Youngest came home. Oh, last day of school. Oh, yeah, I guess it would be. See, some things I do forget, even though I worked in schools for 23 years. Yeah, I knew the end of June was coming. Pizza. Okay, that explains Swank's comment of wanting pizza now. Fourth Wing, here we go. Did you send me yours? I did not yet, Margaret. I will be doing that very soon. I do know the word I have to send. I just have not done that yet. Kat also enjoyed book 1. She did not enjoy book 2.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I've heard a lot of people don't vibe with book 2 as much as book 1, but I was the other way around. So.
And again, and see, that's the thing I do like as well, at least the community and the people I've connected with. We don't all need to like the same book.
No.
I can dislike Fourth Wing, and that's okay. Other people can love it, and that's okay too. I mean, that's the beauty of, you know, having your own experience with a book.
Definitely.
And also being able to have adult, mature, let's not lose our shit over nothing conversations. It's a book.
It's just getting things from different perspectives, and that's really fun.
Yeah. I mean, until, you know, we had that virtual tea a while back, both with ACOTAR and the group with the Fourth Wing and that during the holidays. It's like, oh, yeah, I hadn't really considered for someone new to this genre, it would be a fun read. Now, for me, I have a bias against Violet, partly because I live with chronic pain.
Yeah. Same.
And I'm reading parts of these going, yeah, no.
Yeah, it reads like someone who doesn't experience it is right now. But she does experience it, which is interesting.
And that's it, right? And I'm reading some of these parts thinking, really?
Yeah.
There's days just walking down my hall is like, screw it, I'm staying in bed. Like, no, I don't want to. Let alone trying to wrap myself, walk over a big slippery slidey building and go hop on a dragon. It's like, and so for me, that was part of it, but I can get both sides, and I love having a different perspective from
that
people.
It's that different experience, isn't it? And I think sometimes, especially when it's something like chronic illness, that it is something that is the biggest challenge that person has to deal with. It is really hard to then read a different experience and connect with it in a way, especially when it seems like they don't feel it, which there are times where you forget completely that she's supposed to have this chronic illness until all of a sudden her knee dislocates or something, you know? It's like, oh, I better remember to put this in, you know? But then there are times where you don't forget it and she does it really well. But I feel like that's more as you go on in the series.
So in the other books.
I don't know. It's not the best representation that I've ever read, honestly.
And again, for most people, it wouldn't even be a blip. Do you know what I mean? Other than recognizing, and it could have been realistically, if I was reading it on a day when the pain was insane,
Yeah.
it would have been, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You can't just wrap that pain away and start moving.
Yeah.
That's not how
Yeah.
this works for people.
Yeah.
And so, because I have that experience, that would give me, I don't know if jaded's the right word, or
Yeah.
just a different perspective
Mm.
on really how does this
Mm.
work versus someone who, lucky that, and maybe part of it was just outright jealousy, is like,
Maybe, yeah.
I wish I could do that on a I
Yeah.
feel like crap day, but
Yeah.
that's just not how it works in
Yeah.
my world. And see,
Yeah.
again, this is why conversation is
100%.
important, and thinking and hearing it out loud, right? Versus
Yeah.
just thinking it to yourself, because you
Yeah.
wouldn't get those perspectives and ideas.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
call them low tolerance days.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. So we have Kat with her teeny lemon cake and homemade pizza dough at home. Ooh, know what I'm doing for dinner now. Yum. Have
That sounds
Fourth Wing.
amazing.
Totally get why what people don't like
Mhm.
Fourth Wing. Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, and see, to me, authors are my heroes. I've said
Yeah.
this before, and I'm going to keep saying it because all my life, books have saved me. They have
Yeah.
been my escape, my go-to, no
Mhm.
matter what was going on in the world, either in my home, in my own little head, or
Mhm.
out there. Books have always gotten me through, whether it's
Yeah.
fiction, nonfiction, whatever. It was a book. I mean, I
Yeah.
had human support as well, but it was books in my quiet time, especially as
Mm.
a kid. And so it really irritates me when someone just trashes a book
Yeah.
and they're not a writer. Not that it would make it any better, but they're not a writer
Yeah.
and they're just talking crap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? I know it gets lots of views. And I know people obviously
Mm.
enjoy watching it because it gets lots of views.
Mm.
But what about the people those books have made a difference for?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about the amount of time an author has spent producing that particular piece of work? Because it can be a
Yeah.
matter of months to years to up to a
Yeah.
decade for one book
Yeah.
to be written. And how unfair to just, slam someone's hard work.
Mm.
Because, like I say, although Fourth Wing is never going to be my favorite book, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean there aren't some good things or well written parts or
Yeah.
positives to say about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. There's always going to be something of value, even if it's not of value to you directly.
Exactly. And why take that joy away from other people?
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
again,
Definitely.
have the conversation and get a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like, to me, no, people spend so much time producing that work, the courage to put it out there, whether it's an
Yeah.
indie author or a publisher that does it. And, would you go into a store and just start trashing a clerk? Would you go into a doctor's office and just, make videos about slamming them? I mean,
I mean, I'm kind
serious.
of tempted at times, I'll be honest,
Well,
but
yeah,
I
well,
wouldn't actually do it. That's the difference.
mine's not exactly going to get Doctor of the Year either, but again, time, place,
Yeah,
format.
exactly.
And yeah, it's, just to me, it's uplift people. Why
Yeah.
tear them down?
Yeah, there's no need for it. There's enough hate in the world. We don't need any more.
Exactly. Oh, Margaret did dip into the series, stopped at Frost and Starlight. Oh, you were so close. You just had Silver Flames, another 751 pages. You were so close, Margaret, so close. Oh, now they're still carrying on. Thought it'd be nice to torture yourself rereading a hate read. New level of reader. So this is when you were talking about they're joking back and forth.
Yeah. I don't even use the word hate lightly either. I genuinely hated it.
Yeah. See, I don't think it was so much hate as I was disappointed.
Oh, no, I hated it.
It took so long to get to the dragons and the story, because I really wanted the backstory. What's going on with this community, and why is there this wall?
Why is it this way?
And why would you have put your daughter, who you know has an illness, take her out of a safe place being a scribe, and 6 months before this brutal ass test, throw her in? Like, are you trying to get her killed? And I think all of that was bugging me. And then there were, of course, different clues that Violet was missing, partly because she was too busy thinking about Xaden. It's like, Violet, how are you not picking up on these things that something is awry? So again, number of things. So Margaret, turn down corners, top corner. Oh, okay. So this is when you were saying about your colors. Top are positive, bottom are negative. Nice. So you can add a glance it. There you go. AK murder. No, Margaret. Oh, Dono is ready. Here it comes.
I blame you with all of the love in the world.
No, dog ear pages. Book murder. Think it was February when the reading. Go ahead through the fruit and veggies. Haven't read any of the books. Don't do romance. Well, Swank,
I can recommend some good fantasy romance.
If anyone had told me a year ago I'd be reading Fourth Wing or ACOTAR, let alone 5 ACOTAR, I would have laughed. Never. And here we are. I've read 5 ACOTAR and Fourth Wing. And I even have Twilight sitting there soon to read The Sparkly Vampire. But I explain all of that in a video I'll mention when we catch up on comments.
Nice.
There. So what do you read, Swank? Threatened to set. Threatened to set. Already made. Horror and cozy mysteries. Nice. How many signatures? Oh, okay. How many signatures did you require?
I can't remember now. Was it 50?
Thousands. Logistics are mind-blowing.
Not many.
Didn't like Fourth Wing, go away for a month, come back, suddenly liked it. Love a good horror. Yes, I really do. Ghost stories, horror story. I mean, my favorite reads as a teen were Stephen King, Dean Koontz, Peter Straub, but then I also love sci-fi. So Star Trek, H.G. Wells, John Wyndham.
Yeah.
Such a nice variety. And I've always read a variety. I mean, kudos to people who can do one genre on a channel.
Oh, no.
I can't do that.
That's not for me. I'd be so bored if I just read one genre.
Yeah. And again, so the beauty of everyone can do their own thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Real version book club buddy read just online.
Yeah.
Back to faking work. Bye, hon.
Practice.
Have fun. Take it back. Uh-oh. Not a fan of dragons. Well, I'm doomed then. Cobalt dragon. Like, yes. New
I think you'll be the exception.
It's cute. Baby fantasy readers. Good observation. Ooh, an explanation detail. Oh, thank you. Do you get how it can be a good intro to fantasy?
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Think what kind you like to read have a big impact. Exactly. Because, see, I enjoyed reading Lord of the Rings. I was probably late teens, maybe early 20s. There are other people who can't stand Lord of the Rings or The
Yeah.
Hobbit. I like Wheel of Time. Other people, now, granted, I don't love it as much as Ven because of all the shape of the buttons, color of the clothes. I don't care. Just get me to the action scenes. So, again, different parts. And
Yeah.
that was actually, we'll get to that with ACOTAR when we do that. Really beautiful people. Oh, bye, Noah. Watching. Ooh, fave. Oh, Little Shop of Horrors. I love that. It was so cute. I sent him a picture the other day. My begonia actually looked like oh, I can't think the plant's name. Not Sherwood. Oh, and now my little shop of horror people are gone. Sherman.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so funny, just the way the little flower went. It looked like I should have been able to get his little mouth open and go, feed
No.
me. There'd be a cute little video to freak people out. Awesome. Take care. Love the film by Noah. It's the last day of school in the U.S. There we go. Lots of last days. Petition to make Elaine read the other books. No! Come on. It's bad enough you're trying to get me to read book 6 of Sarah J.
I
Maas.
feel another petition coming on.
Look, I already have Chunky Monkeys that is awaiting. And I got to finish this Chunky Monkey from my beefcake. I'm like 8 flipping books behind. No, maybe 2026 and we'll think about it. Hey, Leslie. And you convert at work. Onyx. Okay. Onyx Storm is my favorite. Like knowing more. Now that is that the third one?
Yeah.
See, now I've heard, it might have been Dave from Book Blather, Dave and Olive. His daughter read all 3 books, and I can't remember if she didn't like the third one.
Right.
And yet and again, right? I think it depends on what it is you're wanting from the story.
Yeah.
Right? Because Paul is saying this talks about the lore of the world. And that's why I like the last 130 pages of Fourth Wing. It was talking more about the world and the behind the scenes, what's going on, and why is this such a big deal? Happening. Yeah. So again, it representation. It's not representationing. My current book, alas. Is that a cuckoo clock?
Yep. It is. My cuckoo clock.
Nice. Fine line between wanting to showcase people doing things despite chronic illness and failing to fully represent. And I agree. And I mean, again, and it's not just, to be fair, chronic illness. It's a challenge, whatever you're writing about, whether that's sexual orientation, where you live in the world, whether it has to do with mental health or physical health. And again, even with, well, let's just use chronic health because that's the one I can relate to. Well, and mental health too, because there's that spin-off of depression and stuff that goes with it.
Yeah.
But just because I experience it this way doesn't mean everyone experiences it the same way, even if they
No.
have the same back issues, even if they have depression. We all have different support groups and ways
Yeah.
of moving through the world and different focuses. So I think that's important too, is I think another example I love the Idiot's Guides, whether it's about natural magic or the Bible or whatever. I've got about 7 or 8 of them around. I love them because the way they're set up, there's the glossary, it's written in terms in a way that you can understand and benefit. But some people were offended by that word idiot.
Yeah.
So now the series is the Everything book.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's incorrect, isn't it? Because it's only this size.
Yeah.
But, different things push buttons for different people. And it's such a challenge trying to find. I mean, even with, it doesn't matter how many times I listen to a video, and I'm sure it's for every content creator. You're not trying to offend. Well, most of us aren't.
No.
You're not trying to offend. You're not trying to upset. But somebody out there somewhere, no matter how carefully you word it, is going to be upset.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And there's nothing you can do about that. You can just try to lead with kindness and accept that some people are not going to like it.
Exactly. And again, it goes to that uplifting versus tearing down.
Yeah.
Margaret, how many of us get angry at our books? Just me? No. But
although you're getting angry at your own book that you're writing, I'm assuming, rather than I just get angry at books.
Yeah. And again, there's the difference between getting angry at the book and tearing down the author who wrote it.
Yeah.
And, and again,
if you're supposed to be angry, that's a good thing.
Hope I said but yeah, you did. Someone with chronic illness. Okay. So someone else who can relate. And you absolutely did, Paula. I think it is important. And again, we all experience it different. We have good days. We have bad days. That's going to impact. Like I say, if I was reading Fourth Wing and I was having a particularly difficult couple of days, you're not in the same headspace as when you're lucky enough to have a good day, and woohoo, if it's a pain-free day. I can't remember the last time I had one of those, but I know there's been a few in the last year. But again, I find it interesting that some of us who live with chronic pain actually have to work at being as miserable as some of these people who have no frickin' pain. Like, what the hell is that? Like, we're happy, we're bubbly, we do our thing, we uplift people, we spread love, we spread joy. And I'm like, why are these other people so farkin' miserable? Like, hey, Judy.
Everyone has their hobbies.
That's true. That's true. God, it was a disability. Just thought it was because she wasn't trained to be as strong. Yeah, exactly. Hermie told me, so not well done. Yeah. And at first, I don't even think I was entirely getting it, but I was wondering why she was rapping and doing everything. And then it's like, ranting, negging, talking smack, whatever it's called. I ignore. Not cool. Prep lunch, still listening. Cool. Insurance companies, maybe. Oh, no, not a Nesta fan. You need to read Silver Flames. Silver Flames. It explains so much more about Nesta, and actually it's funny. Well, see, and I've shared the story about how, and at the time, Noah had only read book 1 in that live stream, and someone said, you know,
Right.
the Chaos Gremlins, who would they be in ACOTAR? And so he said, I was Nesta. Now, in book 1, we really don't learn much about
No.
her. And
And
you
what
have
you do learn isn't particularly nice.
exactly. And of course, he called Van Tamlin. Oh, yeah. But again, to Noah's credit, he'd only read book 1.
Yeah.
Then, of course, I had to know more about this Nesta. I mean, I could have left it at book 1 because I'd only read that to piss Ven off and go on about Feyre because I know he hates her.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get mileage, but I had to read the book to get the mileage. But I'm like, no, I've got to know about this Nesta. Like, what's her deal? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And so I had to keep reading and reading and reading because it doesn't come up until Silver Flames, right?
Yeah.
And then you get more of her backstory. But, excuse me, we're already starting to see some things with her in the other books. And yeah, we'll get into a bit more of that when we get into the ACOTAR talk. But yeah, Jody's saying too, really thought there'd be more dragons by the end. Couldn't even remember which rider went with which character other than the main two. Okay. Oh, but wasn't what I expected. And that was the thing for me. Once I knew it was more romance than dragons, I was done. And if there had been more to the dragons, like the majority of the story, I would have gone on, but no petition, not enough dragons, not happening.
Yeah. Luckily there's more dragons in the second and third, but I still don't. I think honestly you could get rid of the humans in the series and it would be perfect.
There we go. Paula's also a massive Tolkien fan. Ah, there we go. Feed me Seymour. Yes, my little the little plant. How about when the next book comes out, I do another read along for it, then I'll rope you in. Ride the waves.
God, if I had to go through this, someone else has to go through this misery too.
It's a plot. I'd like to
Although I will be rereading it with Donna again.
Margaret would like to be someone's cup of tea. And no, meant books I'm reading, not writing. Okay, there we go. So
right,
about herself, but and yeah, that I mean, and that again, that tells you something about the book, doesn't it? When it gets you going, whether it's super happy, super angry, crying tears, whatever. You know there's something to the writing because it got you. It's not just I gotta, finish this and woohoo, look at this character or whatever, right? When those emotions come, there's been something to the writing. Yeah. When I read book 2 and 3, her disability was not represented at all. Okay, now Hermie, I haven't read it, so your thoughts with Thyla.
I mean, I agree, sort of, because I think if you have it there in your head, you see it. And there's a couple of times where she's wrapped her ankle or her knee or she talks about needing to. But that's really as far as it goes in terms of the disability representation for her. And I think it is so easy to not identify, like connect the dots with it.
Yeah.
That it's, I mean, why put it there? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, can't remember who said it now. Someone said that they thought that they didn't realize it was a disability.
Yeah.
And they thought it was just because she hadn't been trained. That is exactly what you would think if you don't know. Like, if I hadn't read, I think it's the acknowledgements or the something, the author's note at the end, where she talks about it. If I hadn't read that, I probably wouldn't know myself. And it is very much true that it is much less in book 2 and book 3.
Yeah. Now, Jody was saying, forgot it was a disability and just thought it was, she wasn't trained. Yep. So it was Jody who had mentioned that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the thing. And like I say, I haven't read the other two, but yeah.
Yeah.
No Tolkien. Hermie tried to get me to read The Hobbit, tried an audiobook, ebook, and physical book. Just couldn't get into it. And too many
hairy toes. I remember that now.
And again, that's the thing, right? Like, I enjoyed it. I like Bilbo and the trolls and Gandalf, especially. I enjoy the movies. I mean, we do Lord of the Rings Day and we do the Hobbit Day because we have all three. So it's literally a day-long event. But it's, again, it's not for everybody, right? Some people don't enjoy the Hobbits or just the way that it's written, because of course Tolkien was writing this years and years ago. So it's kind of like Shakespeare. You either enjoy the Old English language or not so much, you know, and that's the beauty of having those older works available.
Yeah.
And it's what really worries me as I go into Indigo, excuse me, and not very often. And it would be like your Waterstones or Barnes and Noble, the big bookstores. But what I find is fewer and fewer books and more overpriced, not always the best quality stuff like pajamas and cups and this and that. And I'm like, I'm coming to a bookstore, not a department store. So why are there fewer and fewer books? And, you know, people will say, oh, well, it's audio and ebooks. That's great. What if you don't, what if you can't afford technology? What if you don't have access to that? Where do you find books?
Yeah.
I mean, you have the library, yes, but sadly, even in my libraries, well, my library is getting fewer and fewer books and more space is going to social programs, which is fine. It's a use of the space.
Yeah.
Where are all the books going? And how do the people who can't afford books get access to free books if they're not on the shelf?
Yeah.
You know, it does truly worry me. And I don't unhaul books anymore, partly because I've repurchased 40 that I've unhauled over the decades. Thought I was done, but I needed something else from them. And that's fiction and nonfiction. But the other reason I don't unhaul them is books that I thought would have been easy to repurchase if I whoopsie unhauled it. Not so much. Like even Michael McDowell, who's a Southern Gothic horror writer, and I read him when I was in my teens, loved his book, The Amulet, Cold Moon Over Babylon. He was out of print for years. His work has only come back into publication since, I think, 2010 or 2012.
Okay.
But if Valancourt hadn't, blessed their heart, brought his work back, and it's excellent. Like even Stephen King and his wife Tabitha rave about Michael McDowell. And Tabitha finished one of his final books because Michael passed away before he finished it. And yet somehow his stuff went out of print. So if Valancourt hadn't brought it back, I would never have had my Michael McDowell books again.
Yeah.
Well, I don't assume.
Or you'd have had to hit lucky and find them in a charity shop or something.
Yeah.
Which obviously could be years, if ever, you know?
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone has their hobbies. Nailed it. I was not a Nesta fan. Yeah. But now I've not read Silver Flames yet, but I heard I will love it. Now,
I think Donna will love that one.
see, and I don't know, and I do joke, but we'll get to it when we get to Silver Flames, because
Okay.
yeah, there's one scene in there. I just love Azrael. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
You want okay, and McCaffrey. I will have
Mm.
to make note of that. Book 3 is more okay about the dragons and the dragon history and culture. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe the person or people who don't enjoy it are reading more for the romance part
Maybe.
and less for the dragons,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, Riders of Pern series. Have to
Oh, I've
check
heard of
that
that.
out. Ooh, we're almost caught up again. Wish people had more male MCs like Lord of the Rings. They're top tier. Okay. First Lord of the Ring movie. Oh, tried 3 times to watch it, but couldn't get very far in. Yeah, I'm going to say I enjoyed the story, but I watched it for the eye candy. You can't beat Legolas and Strider. Wasn't watching The Hobbits, I'm just going to say. And I can say that my husband doesn't watch the live streams anyhow. But even if he did, and even if he was home, it wouldn't matter. We have an agreement because he has his girlies he likes and considers eye candy as well. Excuse me. So we have an agreement. Eye candy is fine. You can window shop all you want.
Yeah.
But you go in and give any of it a test drive, then you just come home,
That's a
pack
different
your
story.
bags, and get the hell out. Because, you know,
Yeah.
then we've gone to a whole other level of, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
So I watch it for the eye candy, but I do like the story. No, with all the book banning and the unfunding of the libraries, hard to get ebooks I'm interested in. Well, and sadly, Swank, it's not just the US. I mean, I'm in Canada. I know I've heard same in some of the places in the United Kingdom. Like this is not just a book banning, and it happens in all 3 countries as well. I was part of that. Oh, bye, Margaret. I was part of 24 in 2024. And that was about the banned book project. And one of the videos I made, well, I broke it into 3 parts about the issue itself. Then I focused on Canada, and then I focused on the United Kingdom and the United States. And all 3 of those countries have issues, as do numerous countries throughout the world for different reasons, whether it's political or religious and other things that are driving why they don't want certain books in people's hands.
Yeah.
What really irritated me was and funny thing is most of the books were rereads for me. Don't know what that says about my reading choices, but you know. But most of these people making the complaints have never read the books, and that ticks me off. It's like, no, if you get to put forward a complaint, then you should be citing the exact page and what precisely irritated you. If you can't tell me a synopsis of the story and cite specifics, get the hell out of my office.
Yeah. I think they should be made to prove why it's dangerous as well, why it's harmful, because why are you banning books just because you don't like it? You know?
I mean, you could do that with every single, and it's like we said, right?
Yeah.
We each enjoy different things. ACOTAR, I mean, I do not think is teen appropriate, which is how it got listed for some. But that doesn't mean, so I agree, it probably shouldn't be in high schools, but it should be in public libraries and accessible to people who want to read it.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that just needs recategorization from YA to at least NA. At least new adult.
Yeah. And I think, okay, Margaret has left. Nice to have been here. Nice to connect. And yes, I do love that indeed about sprints. And so ACOTAR. Oh, hang on. Paula's got a banned book and then we'll ACOTAR. Oh, yep. I always think that if a book is banned, it's worth reading for a reason, even just to see why. And I agree. Now, a number of the books that I read last year, and I mean, Sarah J. Maas would have fit. I just wasn't interested in reading that series.
Yeah.
But I read Go Ask Alice, which I'd read in high school. The young teen who gets into drugs and ends up unaliving herself. That's not a spoiler. It's right on the back of the book. For me, reading that as a teenager with a number of friends who are getting into drugs, that book literally saved my life and stopped me from getting into drugs. You know, and that's not to say I would have done the same thing or made the same choices, but it certainly made me stop and think where some of that could lead. And, you know, thankfully that didn't happen to any of my friends. It was a small town, so mostly they were just smoking pot and, you know, silly choices like that.
Yeah.
But that book really made me stop and think. Now, here in British Columbia, they took it off the shelves. I can't remember what year, and I know parents and students disagreed with them, and they still kept it off the shelves. And I'm thinking, that's ridiculous. Like, you don't know what benefit that book could be. And again, whatever book it is, how can you say whether it's going to benefit somebody?
Yeah.
Or the
honestly, I feel like as a parent, from my perspective,
my and that's an important one too.
Should be able to read anything that's written for their age group and be open to that discussion with your parent about it, so that you can, if there's any concepts or ideas that you want to make sure are put across in a safe manner, you need to be able to have that open conversation. And I don't think that happens in a lot of families.
And there's
discuss things on a deep level, you know.
And there's a key component is the parent and having conversations about the books and what are your kids reading and what is the content. And do you really want the government deciding what your kids can read?
That should be up to you,
And there was what, now Paula's saying, and I agree as well, reading's so subjective, absolutely, and personal to everyone for different reasons. 100%. And I know with one of the videos I did, it had to do with Florida, and so many of Stephen King's books have been banned. I think in one county there's over 60, if not 70 of them. I'm like, holy carp, how many books does this guy have? That's not even his whole catalog at this point.
No.
But
it's hundreds, if not thousands at this point.
Yeah. And I had a comment under my video, and they were all, I mean, there were none I would have considered taking down. And the one person was saying, oh, they should never have been allowed to read it, and they still can't look down a drain. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But I read Stephen King. I didn't have nightmares. It didn't mess me up. And if you were having issues, you should have spoken to your parents, and your parents should have been keeping an eye on what you were reading and whether it was appropriate or not. Again, you don't want the government making those decisions, right? You're called a parent for a reason. So parent. And it would frustrate me too, because again, working in schools, I'm well aware of what some of the parents are doing, and it's not looking over their kids or being involved in their education or that kind of stuff. And I'm like, therein lies the problem, not the books. Right? That's a whole other bull of wax. Remember growing up trying to read reading lists I was given in English. Mom got angry, but looking back, I can see why. But that's for personal reasons, not for everyone. And again, yeah, like, having that conversation with a parent. So with ACOTAR, you loved it from the get-go, didn't you?
I did, but it's not my favorite of Sarah SJM's books series.
Okay.
But I do think I do like it. The majority of the books are, I think the lowest I rated was 4 stars for any of them. And I even liked the one that a lot of people don't like, the
novella Frost and Starlight.
I even quite liked that. Not as much as the others, but I did enjoy it still. I feel like it's a series that gets better as it goes on.
That I think I'll agree with you.
The first one, I think if I'd read that and not continued, it wouldn't even be something that I think about at all. And I think actually if I'd read it when I was younger, I don't think I'd have liked it either, which is interesting because it's written for younger people.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's supposed to be written for younger people.
Now, you read some of her other series before?
I've read all of them, yeah.
Okay. See, this is my only Sarah J. Maas read. I haven't read any of the others. I know people were talking about them several years ago. And actually Margaret's gone now, but I found it interesting that her book, The Keening, was published in 2015.
Yeah.
So was ACOTAR.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about The Keening.
No.
But, trying to get these other books at the library is weeks and weeks of hold and waiting. And then you've got to read it in the 3 weeks because there's no auto renew on that sucker. Because again, so many other people. And even Six of Crows, I just found out, is also from 2015.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Now, I don't know with Six of Crows if it's because they've got a series on Netflix. ACOTAR, I don't think there's any movies or series, are there?
Not that I'm aware of.
So
I think the fans have made stuff, but not anything official kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's really word of mouth and the book banning, because I know it was booked.
And the publishers have put a lot into it as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing with people like SJM. Everyone, SJM, Cassandra Clare, all of them.
Yeah.
Types of authors. I'm not saying that they're not good authors in their own right. What I'm saying is it's unfair that all of the attention and everything goes to them when there's other writers just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
Not getting any attention or any funding or any, like I've just done a author interview with Meg Humble, who is a fantasy romance author. And she's just brought out her second book. I'm beta reading her third book at the moment.
Nice.
And it's so, like, honestly, it's one of the best series I've read. But she's an indie author, so she has to do everything herself, which is partly why I wanted to promote her on my channel, was because obviously indie authors don't get the attention that trad published authors do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it doesn't sit right with me the way it's almost like a hierarchy, and to me, I don't think that, like, authors like SJM get made out to be these ideal people almost. Put on a pedestal.
Kitty.
When I don't think that. Oh, hello. She doesn't visit very often.
Oh.
She's on the prowl. No. But yeah, that's just my little rant for the day, I guess.
Yeah, but it's true because, and again, how often do these famous promoted authors then you find out they're real people, they've done horrendous things, and it's, like Rowling's with her stuff. Gaiman.
She's a terrifying human.
And so, and then you get into the separate, do you separate art from the human? Because at the end of the day, they're human. There are some who need counseling and need treatment for various issues. Some you're not going to fix because they just broken and they don't want to be fixed,
No, J.K. Rowling is a whole thing.
Yep.
On its own. I feel like with her, it's a different thing for me. Like, I've done a whole video on if you separate the art from the artist.
Yep.
And I can see both arguments. I generally, it depends for me. So Agatha Christie, for instance, nasty piece of work. But if I buy one of Agatha Christie's books now, Agatha Christie's not getting a penny because she's dead. So I don't like for me, it's looking at the harm it would create. So I'm not saying don't access the books, don't access the art, but think about how you're doing it for me. So
and there's that.
J.K. Rowling, she's actively funding hateful things that wasn't worded very well at all. So to me, putting money in her pocket is going like she would have people like me not existing on the planet. So I can't put money in her pocket. I just can't do it.
Exactly. And like you say, there's other options, whether it's a thrift store or the library. I mean, granted, yes, the library paid for it or whoever paid for it, but there's a lot of different options. And with Rowling's, you know where the money's going. Now, that doesn't mean, and I know this is a dicey, tippy-toe topic, but for some of the other authors who have done horrific
things,
Now, there's also issues and reasons why they've done those things that require counseling, medication, the justice system. And counseling and other things cost money. So there it becomes, okay, they've done something horrific. If they've been charged and they do their time, do you continue to penalize them if they've tried to make amends and become a different or better person? Because if they've done all this work, they've gone through the process. And the other dicey thing, and I watched this happen with a big channel. There was an accusation made against an individual. And right off the get-go, like the next day, I don't even think it was 2 days after the accusation was made, this individual made a video, how disappointed they were, how upset they were. They used to be their role model, yada, yada, the whole shebang. Put out the video, and within 2 days discovered, oh, shite, it's all false. And the individual was suing the person who had made the accusation. So it just became a whole poo show.
Didn't need to be.
Exactly. Now, to their credit, the content creator made a, oops, my bad, I'm
Mm.
sorry, video. This has caused a lot of stress for me. There have been hateful comments. I'm going to do this video. I'm saying I'm sorry. I apologize to the person who I just slammed.
Mm.
My words, not theirs. And wrapped it up with, and for me, this is the end of the conversation. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
But my thought is, hey, guess what? The person who has been accused of this heinous crime doesn't get to make that video, and they don't get to say, okay, I'm innocent. Now let's just all stop and let me go back to my life. That's
Yeah.
not how that kind of shit works. And I've
No.
worked with clients who have been falsely accused.
Yeah.
That kind of crap never goes away.
Yeah.
And that's why I always, and I don't, especially if it's oh, this just came up and you see a video about it, I'm like,
Yeah.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Because we know how quick things go out in social media.
Yeah.
People don't check facts.
Yep.
Even an apology, oops, I screwed up, doesn't mean
It's
some
not
people
gonna
are
cut
going
it.
to
No.
see that.
Yeah.
And that's why it gets, I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to do what makes sense for you. Check
Yeah.
your facts, do your research, and just watch what you say about other people.
Yeah.
And like this big channel did say, they'd lost tons of subs because of that video. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, it's unfortunate, but why did you feel a need to make a video the very next day?
Yeah.
The person wasn't charged. And there's the other different thing. Once the police have charged someone, okay, then that's a bit different
Yeah.
versus hearsay and an accusation, because you
Yeah.
don't really know these people. You're not in the same
No.
town. You don't know the whole. And sadly, in some cases, it's too easy to make an accusation
Yeah.
and not have the proof. And then just word of mouth, and it's got real time consequences.
Consequences.
And you don't get just to say, okay, well, I'm done with it now. Well, you may be,
Yeah.
but the person you accused
Yeah.
isn't.
No.
And some stigma doesn't ever go away, no matter how innocent
No.
you are proven, because,
No.
you've got some of that stuff. But yeah, a
Definitely.
separate piece. I don't know that one. Tried to get it read again, found that it's a banned book now.
Mhm.
Yeah. Coming into this having not read any Sarah J. Maas, looking at whether it's worth bumping. I'm sorry, but just thinking about the spicy bits in ACOTAR and bumping up to it was just, thank you, Paula. Now, to answer that, and if anyone's heard me talk about ACOTAR before, I would suggest reading it, but we all know I don't love ACOTAR, and I'm never going to. But there are a lot of good things about that series. And before I catch up with the comments, I'll just share this part too. So ACOTAR for me was my first SJM read. I've never read any of her other series. Reading it began as a joke, and it was just going to end at ACOTAR to bug Zen.
Yeah.
And then the Nesta thing came up, and then I had to know about Nesta, even though he just talked about the first book. And I'm like, oh, now I got to know about this character. And then I kept hearing all these people slamming Nesta and everything else. And so I read book 2, and that one irked me because of how quickly Feyre learns to read and write.
Right.
And having worked in schools with resistant readers and struggling readers and kids who are working with, learning challenges. I refuse to call it disabilities. They're not disabled. Our freaking education system's disabled, but the kids are not. And that just grated on my nerves for the rest of the book, because it's like, how dare you make it seem like this is so damn easy, and these kids beat themselves up every single day and have kids bully them and torment them because it isn't that easy for them.
Yeah.
So I missed most of what happened in book 2, honestly, because I was so irked about that part. Then I got to book 3, and we get a little bit more about Nesta and Elan and things that happen there. And when it started coming to the part about the cauldron, I lost it. I lost it because I ended up remembering when I was taken from school.
Right.
By my birth mother, who shouldn't have had me. Well, then it was still joint custody, so the staff couldn't stop her. I didn't want to go. I was 5 years old. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about that in over 55 freaking years, because there was no reason to.
Yeah.
And back then, of course, there was no counseling. You just suck it up and you move forward. And reading this about Nesta and people not cluing in, because she and Elan, of course, were kidnapped and forced into this situation. And it didn't bug me in book 2. I don't know why. It just ripped a Band-Aid off. And I spent a week of nightmares and reliving all that. And my birth mother has been gone for years. And yet something about reading that just threw me off the rafters.
Yeah.
But it was obviously something. And not only do I have a background in psychology, I've spent a lot of time working on myself. I've seen counselors a few times, all of that stuff. So it was dealt with, but there was obviously some reason I still needed to go back and revisit it. That horrific week was done, and then it was okay. But again, I missed part of book 3 because I was so wrapped up in this other shite. I didn't want to go through this right now. The world's going to shit in a handbasket in January. It's like, oh my God, universe, what are you doing to me? And then Frost and Starlight was okay, but it was, again, more.
Yeah, I feel Frost and Starlight is kind of the break from the
really heavy,
intense stuff.
But again, in there, we're getting even more about what's going on with Nesta. And Nesta and I do have, one common habit in terms of beverages. I've dealt with mine. But again, so then there's that. It's like, oh, are you freaking kidding me? And then I finally got to Silver Flames, which was Nesta and, Cassian and that whole. And I was finding I was getting really protective of Nesta, because it's like, have you ever been kidnapped? Do you freaking know what that does to your head? And okay, granted, I was 5. But still, she was human and kidnapped by Faye. And so, now
like
really.
Faye, who she'd been raised to fear because.
And so much comes up, right, with what happened with her and why she behaved the way she did. And she was actually looking after the other 2, but she keeps getting shit on by everybody. And, it's why. And the communication issue between her and Cassian, and they're both, because neither has a good self-image.
No.
But they won't talk to each other and, clue in. And yes, there's a 10-page, I counted because I skipped the spicy bits. I'm not
Right.
interested. So there's I could skip 10 pages, which was good with me. But the one scene that totally cracked me up was in the dining room because they're up, of course, at the house. And Azrael walks in, and suddenly it's a big embarrassment. And
Yeah.
she boogies off, and he's looking at Azrael like, really? And he's like, I eat here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Take it to your room, people.
Yeah.
But so having gone through all those books, and so here's the really funny part. As we were talking, yes, in September, we are starting the ACOTAR group read. I think Noah's almost finished. I think Ven's still at book 1.
Okay.
I've read up to Silver Flames. Now, have
Okay.
you read the 6th book?
Is that Silver Flames?
No, the one that, or is the other one out yet?
I don't
After
think the next
Silver
one's out
Flames.
yet.
Okay. So we're at the same level of
Yeah.
we've read the whole series.
Yeah.
And part of the reason I agreed to read it again is, one, I already had my meltdown, so there's nothing going to surprise me this
Yeah.
go around. And I do believe books
And you'll have us to moan about it all too as well. Oh, we'll
exactly.
get you through.
Well, and I think books come in our life when they're meant to, and information and people show up when we're ready.
Yeah.
And so as much as I moan and carry on about ACOTAR and reading it and knocked me off my reading thing, there's a reason those books came up in January, and me working through all of that stuff, because I never have to now. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy with that. And I really want to read it as a group, because everyone's going to, again, have a different opinion. There's going to be something, certainly reading book 2 and 3, because I know I had like red, angry, freak out blinders on. There's a lot of stuff I missed. And I can't wait to annotate the crap out of these books. And Indigo thankfully had on a discount sale. So I got 30% off the 3 books I bought. I already had 1 book. So now I just have to get Frost and Starlight, and I've got months to get that. But it's hilarious that, I hated it the first go around. It's like, this is torture. But I wouldn't stop reading because I had to know about Nesta. And it's like, really? Book 5?
Yeah, there's something to be said though for a book that just keeps you going even when you don't want to. It's just something about that, like there's a magic in that, in its own sort of way. Kind of way.
Now, I don't think I'll ever, because I'm not a romantasy reader.
Right.
So, Ven and Noah keep, oh no, you got to read this. I'm like, no, I have a crap ton of books. Oh, we're going to have to catch up and let you get sleepies.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Once I start as well, it's terrible. Like, I won't be able to stop now.
Okay, we'll catch up because I know it's getting late for you too. No worries. I think they're making an ACOTAR series.
Oh.
Unsure if it's, see, Wheel of Time that only survived 3 seasons. Hey, Ren, found that reading banned or books that are constantly in high school as part of the curriculum super beneficial. Animal Farm was one I read last year. Same with 1984. And I actually did that because I did my 40 years later video. Because I originally read Orwell in 1983. Scared the hell out of me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, in a year this can't all happen. But it still scared the hell out of me. I can't say reading it in 2024 made me feel any better, because now this stuff exists. The government hasn't put CCTV in our houses and stuff. People put it in themselves.
Yeah.
There's cameras and this stuff everywhere. It was
Yeah.
creepy. It was creepy. But
Yeah.
I'm glad I did reread it.
Yeah.
More
We
indie
read
authors.
the Margaret Atwood book, Handmaid's Tale.
Yes, read that as well.
And that had the same sort of terrified.
Yep.
This is just too real.
And that hit more home than when I read it again decades ago.
Yeah.
I read Go Ask Alice, Looking for Alaska, so many others. And like I said, for me, they were rereads. I'd read them decades ago, and I'm like, what do you mean they're banned? Lord of the Flies. And I still say, because there was an issue here in Canada in a school, and the students like, why do I have to read this?
Right.
It's not someone that looks like me, basically, and neither do these kids.
Yeah.
Now, here would have been my argument. Are you telling me you can't learn from someone who looks or sounds like you? Because if you're going to a school in Ontario, sweetie, good freaking luck getting every single teacher like that. Not gonna happen.
No.
So I'm like, maybe mix it up, but there is something to be gained from that book.
100%.
It's now, this isn't, Paul is saying, trying to read more indie authors, try and give them the chance they deserve.
Yeah.
What I did in January, I do my thrift bookstore hauls because uber cheap. Love it. But this year I used my birthday money and bought all indie authors that I've met on BookTube.
Oh, nice.
Love that. It was so cool. So that's how I got Obsidian Murders by Nicole Brona. I got Margaret's book. I've got 2 of Gareth Howell's books. And I have a book by Charles McGarry, Talondora's Guest. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to spend money, why am I not supporting fellow booktubers and authors I've gotten to know and have conversations with, instead of putting money in pockets like SJM who don't need me?
You don't need it anymore.
So, and I think I'm going to do that at least once a year, is pick several authors and people I know. And I've been lucky. I've had 2 authors send me ebooks to do reviews and things, and that's nice.
That's nice.
Hey, Van. I just saw Russian Revolution, holistic learning experience, making it easier to understand the historical context. Formulate critical literacy essays. There we go. Paula's agreeing. I was like, love the Harry Potter world. Stuck now. It makes me so uncomfortable. Yep.
Yeah.
And, it's the same. With Harry Potter, kids loved it. It got them reading. Yeah. And I read a number of them. But again, now that other issue that comes up because of the author.
It just leaves a nasty taste in your mouth.
Sorry?
Just leaves a nasty taste in your mouth. Like, I've kept the books because I had them from when the boys were little.
Yep.
Obviously before
everything started.
Kind of person she was, but
yep.
And I will let Isabel access them when she's old enough for me to explain.
Yep.
That this is amazing art, but the person who wrote it is not amazing. And this is why.
Yeah. And again, there's that parental conversation, which is crucial.
And she might not feel the same as me, and that'll be okay. But I just want to make sure that she's old enough to at least be able to have all of the information.
Yep. That's perfect. Make an informed decision, and there's nothing wrong with that. Then ACOTAR's good kindling. You're going to read them all. I've seen them on your bookcase in the videos. Okay, now, Paula, as someone who is dyslexic, I completely agree. And so,
I'm also
yes, the
dyslexic.
challenge of reading. Hermie, do you think ACOTAR would trigger me based on my comments now? So you would know
Yeah.
more
Yeah, I
about
know
that
Paula a
design?
little bit more personally, so I understand. I think more so as the series goes on with this one, my instinct says you'll be okay. However, I would go easy and make sure that you access them when you're in the best possible space to do so. And obviously be ready to put it down and walk away if you need to.
Yep.
That's what I would say.
Now, the other is we're starting this event in September. So if you want to wait till September and join us, Paula, and you'll have sounding boards. So there's options, always options.
And if I'm wrong, feel free to shout at me. I'll accept the responsibility.
Well, and Paula's saying if you can't answer, don't worry. But yeah, and again, there's always
I feel comfortable with Paula answering that because I think Paula understands, like, I can only make a best guess. Effectively, it's still a guess.
Yep.
But yeah, I think.
And with the content,
actually, I hadn't clicked onto that until this. So
and I know when I put up one of my comments initially about it, and I had a viewer comment, and there were things in that first book that triggered them because of things with relationships and how it's portrayed, and touchy stuff for people who have had that experience in their life. And so this individual shared about that, and they really didn't like it. Pretty sure they didn't read any of the other books, and I can't say I blame them based on that first book. And so I responded, thank you for sharing, and I appreciate your viewpoint, certainly understand, so I was decent in my comment. And they actually thanked me because they're like, I really appreciate that. I've made comments in other places and have been attacked.
Oh, really?
Because of what they said, because people are just nutballs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah.
If anyone here does that, you get in touch with me, because no, that does not fly anywhere in my channel or space. It's like, you know what? People are entitled to have their opinion, be respectful, be decent.
Yeah.
But, it's up to people are entitled to their opinion, and you don't know what other people's life experiences and things are. And the thing with it, and is thanks, Hermie, I can approach it differently. Paula's gonna join us in September. Yay! And Paula, also a heads up, and I started saying about book 3. I had no idea it was going to kick me in the ass. Like, it just, there would have been no trigger warnings for it, because part of that had started in book 2. I have no idea why it threw me for a loop as much as it did. But yeah. And again, with our reading, I mean, Hermie can tell you, so can Ven, with our Wheel of Time, we're into June and on book 2. We were supposed to be book 6 by now, and it's all good because everyone's got different things going on, different reads. The world's on fire, and you know what? We're all good with it. So no pressure.
Just take our time and cheat each other along every now and then.
Oh, Ven's gone. Take care. Hope you're doing better.
What's this?
Yeah. Hey guys, take care, Swank. Thanks for joining. Don't like people. Give me animals.
That
Been
definitely could be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, been my motto since I've been a kid. I will trust an animal. Humans, it's dicey. The number is very small.
Takes a bit more effort with humans.
Yeah. As long as I know there'll be triggers, okay. Make it in a good place. Exactly. Support network that we are.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you find it bothersome,
Yeah, at the
feel
first
free
time, you
to,
can always put it down and come back to it another time, or just not come back to it at all.
yeah.
Like,
And you can still chat with us because we're cool
oh
that
yeah,
way.
for sure, 100%. And if you wanted to put it down, but still wanted to know the answers to certain things, we can just tell you.
Exactly. And that's the other part. Like if you don't mind
Yeah,
spoilers or you want to know about a character,
yeah,
then, if it's a difficult read, feel free to just put that sucker down and we'll fill in the blanks and give you spoilers galore.
yeah, for
Paula,
sure.
first time on my channel. Aw, love to definitely be back in the future. Awesome. Well, it's so lovely to meet you and thank you.
Paula's lovely.
A big thank you to everyone who has been able to join us. Special thanks to Hermie, who I've kept up late
Thank
and
you
has
for
had a
having me. I've
busy
really
day.
enjoyed it. Yeah,
This has been wonderful. We'll have to do this again sometime.
I love hanging out with you.
I love hanging out with you too. It's been such a lovely connection, and I try and get into the sprints depending on what's happening in the
Yeah,
day and that. But sometimes I feel bad popping in and then I'm gone. And I'm like, well, I
yeah,
can pop
but
in,
you know,
but
like
anyway.
I appreciate that you make that effort in the first place. You know.
Oh,
Because I know, like, timing wise and things, it's not always that easy. And but I think, like, that's the beauty of this community, is like you make connections with people and you trust that, like, that they're going to try to support you however they can and however that looks. You know, it's different for everybody, and
yeah.
I love that. I think it's lovely.
Oh, I think it's the best part of BookTube is having met people around the world, people having different interests, having lovely conversations and getting different perspectives and new viewpoints. And yeah, it's awesome sauce. I never would have thought I'd been on BookTube, let alone my face. If I could have figured out how to do videos without my face up there, but I knew nothing about editing, so
Yeah,
now here I am with videos and live streams with my face out there.
yeah, and we're very happy that you are.
Aw, thanks. Well, thank you so much for joining, Hermie. Thank you so much for coming and listening to us. And we are going to say good night and much appreciated.